a UN Special Rapporteur on the human right to drinking water and sanitation. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's an honor. As I see it, cooperation as a concept is a virtuous concept in and of itself in all areas. However, I would say that, like all virtuous concepts, at times there are powers in play which manipulate these virtuous concepts. And there are two issues at play in this discussion: the issue of partnerships and combating inequalities. There are many inequalities: gender inequalities, decision-making. There are asymmetries when it comes to power. I think that's always key when it comes to water and sanitation, which is vital. And I agree with the indigenous people. Water is not a resource. It's the very soul and heart of life. That's true. First and foremost, that's what it is. And then we can speak about everything that we want. But water is so fundamental for life, for the dignity of communities, of people. There has to be transparent participation, and there has to be shared responsibility. That's the basic idea, and then we could see how that plays out. But when it comes to managing water, there's considerable imbalance in power, imbalance between men and women, imbalance between citizens and the government, between major companies and the people who receive services from those companies, or those who are responsible for managing water. That's where all the problems in the world arise. So we can speak about partnerships or cooperation, but if we have not resolved this issue of an imbalance, then we're going to be perverting the positive concept of cooperation. By way of example, I believe that it is absolutely essential, and I'm not just saying this literally, but we need to start thinking about what the UN is systematically promoting. We have to have a human rights approach when it comes to water management. I spoke with the authorities who were setting up this enormous event, and someone said, "Pedro, we don't just want to speak about human rights." And I said, "I'm not saying that. I said, let's talk about everything, but let's talk about it from a human rights-based approach. That has to be at the foundation." And I think that we need to empower local communities when it comes to water management and sanitation. We have to empower our neighbors. The situation is different when it comes to indigenous people. We need, first and foremost, to recognize the right to self-government over their territory, not just over their water, because water is part of this entire complex. They need to have sovereignty over that, and then we can cooperate and see what needs to be done. I think these are basic issues, and I just wanted to mention that. I think that the concept of partnerships has been perverted. I'm very respectful to all partners, but I think the concept has been manipulated and perverted. In Chile, during the Pinochet dictatorship, for example, water was privatized. So if Chileans needed water, then they needed to buy it from Madrid, even, because it was a Spanish company. And then the very infrastructure of water and sanitation was privatized. There was a public-private partnership that was set up. It was a European model. And they said, no, it's not a property. No, this is shared management. This is a partnership. I can't go into all of it, but there's a real imbalance of power in this type of partnership that is behind this logic of negotiating partnerships. I would invite you to read this very good report, the General Assembly report on the web, about how water has been commercialized and financed. So I would invite you to read that. Thank you, interrupts the moderator. So I would put emphasis on transparency. We have municipalities, we have governments, and even federal authorities involved in water management, but we need to be transparent and work with the people. We have to have a partnership. That is something that is being implemented in Colombia now. It's going through the parliament. It's a public partnership, public and people partnership. Thank you very much, and we're bringing